And away we go. Episode 1170 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Monday, October 6th, 2025. And we, on this installment of the podcast, are celebrating like we're Mark Sanchez. Have you read or heard about Fox NFL analyst and former NFL quarterback, heck, former Redskins quarterback, Mark Sanchez? He played for the Skins in the 2018 season. Didn't play well for the Skins that season, but he did play for them that season. Old Marky Mark got in some trouble late night on Friday night. He was pepper sprayed and stabbed multiple times during a late night altercation with a 69-year-old truck driver in a downtown Indianapolis alley. You can't make this stuff up. The altercation, per court records filed Sunday, resulted in 3 criminal charges against Sanchez: battery with injury, public intoxication, and unlawful entry of a vehicle. All misdemeanors. Mark Sanchez apparently knows how to have a good time. Well, for the most part. So let's have a good time without anyone getting stabbed. Can we at least do that? No stabbings on this installment of the podcast. But the Washington Commanders in the NFL's 2025 regular season now are 3-2, and that feels a lot better than 2-3, right? A 27-10 win at the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday in a game in which the Commanders overcame a 10-0 second quarter deficit and scored 27 unanswered points. An outstanding road win, 27 unanswered points off a 10-0 second quarter deficit. The offense and defense got off to bad starts, but ended up being good. Quarterback Jayden Daniels did very well in his return. We may well have had the coming out game for Jacory Croskey-Merritt for Bill as the Commanders RB1. An impressive victory by a tough and resilient Commanders team. There are so many good things that I want to say about this win and this team, which of course has its flaws, but this win, to me, the latest sign that this team, yes, is a good team. And so let us enjoy the words of head coach Dan Quinn in a victorious Commanders locker room at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California on Sunday evening.
Hey, at the start of the week, we said one thing, man. That was our one goal we had to get. The dog-ass competing together, man. An absolute fun and joy of that. We lived that like a for the second half. That's it, man. That's Commander ball, competing, battling, finding ways, man. It was cool, man. So we got some tough in here, right? That's how we get down every time. That's how we get down every time. So speed and violence still works, all right? Still works. And proud of you guys, man.
Yes, sir. Speed and violence still work. Just don't say that to Mark Sanchez. Hello and welcome to this Monday installment of the Al Galdi podcast, on which we talk Commanders on every episode, no matter the time of year. This is the podcast that follows Washington, D.C. area sports so that you don't have to. This is a podcast for which there is a new episode each weekday, Monday through Friday, with each episode out by 5 a.m. Eastern, and often much earlier than that. Coming up on the show, in-depth reaction to and analysis of the Commanders' win at the Chargers. Next segment, a deep dive on the Commanders' offense in the game with a focus on 3 key players in quarterback Jayden Daniels, receiver Deebo Samuel Sr., and running back Jacory Croskey-Merritt. The following segment, a breakdown of the Commanders' defense in the game, and the segment after that, thoughts on Commanders' special teams in the game. We have a lot of ground to cover, a lot of good ground to cover. Really good win for the Commanders at the Chargers. And also on the show, lots of conversation about the FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region off Week 6 of the 2025 college football season, including, and I hate to say this, but a choke job of a loss by Maryland, offensive explosions by Navy and Old Dominion and wins, and another overtime victory for Virginia. Before we get to some feedback, the NHL's 2025 preseason is over. The Washington Capitals concluded going 5-1-0 in the 2025 preseason with a 2-1 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets at Capital One Arena on Saturday night, although 2 Caps defensemen in Matt Roy and Dylan McElrath left the game in the third period due to injury. Roy, an upper body injury. McElrath, a lower body injury. As for the grade 8 winger Alex Ovechkin, he played in each of the Caps' final 2 games of the preseason. He, on the first day of 2025 Caps training camp, September 18th, suffered a lower body injury, but he does appear good to go for his age 40 season. The Caps' 2025-2026 regular season season opener is this Wednesday night, home to the Boston Bruins, Wednesday night at 7:30. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me, the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Lots of feedback on the Commanders' win at the Chargers from District Sports Talk on X. Writes District Sports Talk, 2 years in a row, one of the team's best wins comes after an extended West Coast trip. Thank you for that, District Sports Talk. Good point. The Commanders on September 29th, 2024 had the 42-14 win at the Arizona Cardinals. So the Commanders for this game at the Chargers flew out on Thursday, practiced at the historic Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum on Friday, and won the game on Sunday. From the Mr. National on X, writes Mr. National, total pendulum swing is a sign of good coaches. We have them. Witt deserves a ton of credit. Thank you for that, Mr. National. I'm happy for defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. A good game for him and his defense off the debacle that was the defense in the 34-27 loss at the Atlanta Falcons on September 28th. From Jonesy on X, writes Jonesy, Galdi, we got better play out of the Washington defense, and having JD5 on the field makes a difference for sure. Big win all around. Thank you for that, Jonesy. From Gray Mitchell on X, writes Gray, never occurred to me we'd actually shut the Chargers down like that. Thank you for that, Gray. I don't think it occurred to anyone that the defense would end up playing well off the really bad start for the defense in the game. The Commanders in the first quarter got outscored 10-0 and had just 30 total net yards of offense to the Chargers 123, and yet the Commanders ended up winning by 17 points. Like, it's not just that the Commanders won, it's that the Commanders won convincingly. Stunning how this game turned around. From T. Kennedy on X, writes T. Kennedy, love the competitiveness of the D. It didn't sulk after the first quarter. Thank you for that, T. Kennedy. Well, we, during the telecast of the Commanders' win at the Chargers, saw a commercial regarding a medication for eczema. Perhaps you noticed that. Whatever your dermatological needs may be, contact the great Dr. George Verghese. He is a board-certified dermatologist and Mohs surgeon, and operating under his direction is the Mid-Atlantic Skin Surgery Institute of Maryland, which has locations in Waldorf, Maryland, Leonardtown, Maryland, and Lexington Park, Maryland. Whatever your dermatological needs may be, call 301-396-3401 or visit midatlanticskin.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. The Mid-Atlantic Skin Surgery Institute of Maryland focuses on medical skin care, cosmetic procedures, and skin cancer diagnosis and comprehensive care. Dr. Verghese and the Institute offer free skin cancer screenings to anyone considered a new patient. And Dr. Verghese and the Institute offer advanced treatments for skin cancer, including painless and scarless skin cancer treatment. Also, if you're dealing with allergic reactions, if you're dealing with acne, psoriasis, or eczema, if you're interested in procedures like Botox, laser hair removal, or chemical peels, call 301-396-3401 or visit midatlanticskin.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. That's 301-396-3401 or midatlanticskin.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. For excellent and comprehensive skin care, contact Dr. George Verghese and the Mid-Atlantic Skin Surgery Institute of Maryland, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. Both the Commanders' offense and defense in the 27-10 win at the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday got off to hideous starts, off-putting starts, the kind of starts that made you think that our team was headed for a blowout loss. But then the rest of the game happened. The Commanders overcame a 10-0 second quarter deficit, scored 27 unanswered points to improve to 3-2 in the NFL's 2025 regular season as both the offense and the defense got going. This segment focus on the Commanders' offense. The Commanders generated 389 total net yards of offense over 55 plays. That works out to a yards per play of 7.07. That is sensational. understand that the Chargers defense had done well. The Chargers in this regular season through week 4 ranked number 3 in the NFL in total defense in terms of lowest expected points added allowed per play per RBSDM.com. And yet the Commanders on Sunday averaged a whopping 7.07 yards per play. And so we say, welcome back to the QB1, Jayden Daniels. He returned from a 2-game absence caused by a left knee injury that he suffered in the Commanders' 27-18 loss at the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football on September 11th. He did wear a brace on the left knee, but he played very well. Despite the brace, despite the Commanders being without 2 of their top 3 receivers, Terry McLaurin for a second consecutive game was inactive due to a quadriceps injury. Noah Brown for a third consecutive game was inactive due to groin and knee injuries. This was Daniels during his post-game press conference on Sunday evening on getting this win in his return game, which just happened to take place in California, and he, of course, is from California.
It means a lot. First game back after a couple of weeks off, and to be in my hometown, I mean, you can't write up a better story.
Jayden Daniels had an interesting game statistically. He completed just 15 of his 26 pass attempts, and yet he threw for 231 yards. He had a yards per pass attempt of 8.88 and a yards per completion of 15.4. So he had a good number of incompletions, but his completions were big completions. He had completions of 50, 28, 22, 21, 18, and 16 yards. Daniels on the Commanders' third offensive drive, which resulted in running back Jacory Croskey-Merritt's 2nd and 1 15-yard shotgun handoff touchdown run with 4:15 left in the second quarter, had multiple big completions as the Commanders' offense finally got going. On a 3rd and 16 for the Commanders at their 20 with 8:10 left in the second quarter, Daniels had a 16-yard shotgun completion to receiver Jalen Lane in traffic, and on a 2nd and 4 for the Commanders at the Chargers' 45 with 5:36 left in the second quarter, Daniels had a 21-yard pistol play action completion to receiver Deebo Samuel Sr. as Daniels on the play did a nice job of evading pressure from edge defender Tuli Tuipulotu. Daniels on the Commanders' 4th offensive drive, which resulted in kicker Matt Gay's 29-yard field goal with 2 seconds left in the second quarter, had 2 big completions off the Commanders getting a gift of a second life on the drive, a 4th and 15 for the Commanders at their 2 with 50 seconds left in the second quarter. Punter Tressway drew a 15-yard roughing the kicker penalty, negating a 57-yard punt return for a touchdown by receiver and punt returner Ladd McConkey, and giving the Commanders a first down off a disastrous previous 3 plays. And then Daniels went to work. A 1st and 10 for the Commanders at their 17 with 34 seconds left in the second quarter. Daniels had a 50-yard shotgun bomb to receiver Luke McCaffrey on a perfect throw by Daniels and a terrific catch by McCaffrey, who was tightly covered by cornerback Dante Jackson. And on a 2nd and 10 for the Commanders at the Chargers' 33 with 20 seconds left in the second quarter, Daniels had a 22-yard shotgun completion to Deebo Samuel. Daniels had 1 touchdown pass versus no interceptions, and the touchdown pass was the exclamation mark on this game. 4th and 7 for the Commanders at the Chargers' 8. Daniels, while moving backwards under heavy pressure via a blitz, floated an 8-yard shotgun touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel in the end zone with 1:08 left in the fourth quarter to cap a game-icing 13-play, 99-yard drive that consumed 6 minutes, 32 seconds off the clock. What a way to cap that drive. What a drive that was. So also, Jayden Daniels was a significant factor as a runner. He had 8 carries for 39 yards, despite wearing the brace on his left knee. His best runs were scrambles. 2nd and 4 for the Commanders at their 42 with 6:54 left in the second quarter. Daniels had a 7-yard pistol play action scramble on which he slid. 2nd and 10 for the Commanders at their 31 with 14:33 left in the third quarter. Daniels had a 9-yard shotgun scramble. 2nd and 16 for the Commanders at their 14 with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Daniels had a 12-yard shotgun scramble on which he drew a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty by interior defensive lineman Otito Ogbonnia. Daniels' design/option runs did not do much, but he as a scrambler was really good. And Daniels took just 1 sack, and it was only for a 5-yard loss. A lot to like from Jayden Daniels in his return. The bad from Daniels, really just a few things. He was off on some throws. Like I said, he completed just 15 of his 26 pass attempts. That works out to a completion percentage of just 57.69. Daniels quarterbacked the Commanders offense that went just 2 for 7 on third downs. And the Commanders did commit a delay of game penalty that usually goes on the account of the quarterback. 3rd and 5 for the Commanders at the Chargers 13 with 5:58 left in the third quarter. The Commanders committed a 5-yard delay of game penalty. But good to have Jayden Daniels back. We, during head coach Dan Quinn's postgame press conference on Sunday evening, had this back and forth between Commanders insider John Keim of ESPN and Quinn.
What did you see from Jayden today?
I think, starting slow, I thought he really showed a lot of poise. I thought he really ripped the ball well. One to Debo in specific, I thought. One ripped inside to Zach to go. But the best play, I thought, was the one deep ball on the seam post to Luke. That was a big play to go. But I thought he made good decisions tonight, John. There was some times where he threw the ball away or got down, and that was something that we had talked about and worked on. So those are plays that won't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, but to me and to him, knowing that that's a big deal for us to play at our best.
Obviously, you like what Marcus gave you, but what did Jayden, is there just something different that Jayden gives us good to this team?
I think he just has an X factor about him on the 3rd and 4th downs that, he can go create and make some plays. The field post, honestly, the last play, I thought he threw a fantastic pass to Debo. So he has those spaces in him. It was great to get him back out. It was going to be hard to keep him out tonight. Coming back to this area where he grew up, not too far from here, and where his football career began. But I was pleased to see us playing complementary, especially the second half. Although it started not how we wanted in terms from a score standpoint, I thought the guys never changed the energy throughout, and they came back. And I thought the biggest difference was scoring at the end of the half and then going to get points at again. So when you can lap somebody scoring and then go back and start it again, that's a really big deal.
All right. I mentioned Deebo Samuel. How good was Deebo in this game? 8 receptions for 96 yards and a touchdown on 11 targets, and he drew a key defensive pass interference penalty. He had no carries, but the DPI was key. 3rd and 6 for the Commanders at their 45 with 3:20 left in the fourth quarter. Deebo drew a 17-yard defensive pass interference penalty by cornerback Tarheeb Still, a product of the University of Maryland. But all 3 of general manager Adam Peters' major acquisitions via trade/free agency this past offseason, left tackle Laramie Tunsil, receiver Deebo Samuel, and interior defensive lineman Javon Kinlaw, are playing very well. So Jayden Daniels and Deebo Samuel, 2 big standouts for the Commanders offense in this win at the Chargers. And another big offensive standout for the Commanders in this game was Bill, running back Jacory Croskey-Merritt. I do believe that we now can call him the Commanders' RB1. I do think that we now have permission to do that. He sure seems to be the team's RB1, right? And this game sure seemed to be his coming out party as the team's RB1. Jacory Croskey-Merritt had 14 carries for 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, and yes, a lost fumble. He also had 2 receptions for 39 yards on 2 targets. You look at the Commanders' other 2 running backs on the 53-man active roster for this game. Chris Rodriguez Jr. had 5 carries for 7 yards and no targets. Jeremy McNichols had 1 carry for 6 yards and had 1 reception for 12 yards on 2 targets. He did commit a 5-yard false start penalty. I have said that I think that the Commanders' running back by committee approach could lead to a scenario in which each game has its own flavor with the running back usage. So one game could be a Jacory Croskey-Merritt game, another game could be a Chris Rodriguez game, another game could be a Jeremy McNichols game, etc. And I still think that that could be the case. But given how many more carries Jacory Croskey-Merritt had in this game as compared to the other two backs, and given how well Croskey-Merritt did in this game, and given that the reporting has been that the team really likes Croskey-Merritt, I do think that it is quite possible, if not probable, that we'll look back upon this game as the coming out party for Jacory Croskey-Merritt as the Commanders' RB1. So many good touches by Croskey-Merritt in this game. And I say touches because we're talking both carries and receptions. Second and 1 for the Commanders at the Chargers 15. Croskey-Merritt had a 15-yard shotgun handoff touchdown run with 4:15 left in the second quarter. Croskey-Merritt ran to the left where he had a ton of open room. Croskey-Merritt was a major force on the Commanders' fifth offensive drive, which was the opening drive of the second half, on a 1st and 10 for the Commanders at their 45 with 13:42 left in the third quarter. Jayden Daniels had a 28-yard shotgun play action completion to Croskey-Merritt, who was wide open and generated 24 yards after the catch. And the play happened despite Tarheeb Still committing a defensive holding penalty that was declined. 3 snaps later, on a 1st and 10 for the Commanders at the Chargers 16 with 11:50 left in the third quarter, Daniels had an 11-yard shotgun completion to Croskey-Merritt, who generated 13 yards after the catch. And the next snap, on a 1st and goal for the Commanders at the 5, Croskey-Merritt had a 5-yard pistol handoff touchdown run with 10:58 left in the third quarter as he ran to the left where he had a ton of open room. Also on a 1st and 10 for the Commanders at their 43 with 8:24 left in the third quarter, Croskey-Merritt had a 27-yard pistol handoff run on which he shook through an attempted tackle up the middle and then burst to the right side for the big gain. And then regarding the lost fumble, so look, that was bad. I mean, there's no getting around that. 2nd and 2 for the Commanders at the Chargers 36. On the first snap of the fourth quarter, Croskey-Merritt had a lost fumble on a pistol handoff run from -5 yards. But I loved how Croskey-Merritt responded to the lost fumble. He on the Commanders' game-icing 13-play, 99-yard drive that resulted in Jayden Daniels' touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel had 3 carries for 34 yards in responding nicely to that lost fumble. This was Dan Quinn during his post-game press conference on Sunday evening on Jacory Croskey-Merritt.
Yeah, I was pleased to see him. Obviously, he wants the one play back that he put the ball on the ground. But in the passing game and the running game, I really, felt him. And so you had kind of heard us say that may happen when somebody, is hot and they'll take more reps to go. As it turns out, he had the most today. And we'll continue to build and see where we take it from here. But the more effective you can run it, then the play passes come alive, and it's a big deal for us.
Okay, and I do want to give props to Jeremy McNichols for a terrific reception. 3rd and 10 for the Commanders at the Chargers 30 with 7:29 left in the third quarter. Jayden Daniels had a 12-yard shotgun completion to McNichols, who made a great stiff arm to force a missed tackle by Tarheeb Still and generating 18 yards after the catch. The NACE Law Group, Accident and Injury Lawyers. It has been a Washington, D.C. institution for decades. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the NACE Law Group, Accident and Injury Lawyers, and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com and tell the NACE Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. Founded in 1979, the NACE Law Group offers fierce advocacy on behalf of medical malpractice, birth injury, and personal injury victims. Led by the great Chris Nace, the NACE Law Group is focused on providing exceptional care and counsel for those who need such things the most. The NACE Law Group fights for what it believes in, you, your family, and your future. You with the NACE Law Group have an experienced advocate on your side. The NACE Law Group has secured millions of dollars in verdict and settlement amounts for clients to better enable them to care for themselves individuals and their families. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the NACE Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. That's 202-902-7611 or Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. The NACE Law Group, Accident and Injury Lawyers. Can you recall as Jekyll and Hyde of a game for a Washington defense as what we saw in the Commanders' 27-10 win at the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday? The Commanders' defense over the Chargers' first 3 offensive drives up until the very end of that third drive looked so bad, but then the defense over the course of the rest of the game looked so good, and this actually ended up being a good game for the defense, a bounce-back game off the defense being terrible in the 34-27 loss at the Atlanta Falcons on September 28th. You start with the takeaways. The Commanders in this win at the Chargers generated 2 big takeaways. And, the phrase big takeaways can be overused. That is true. But in this case, these truly were 2 big takeaways, right? On a 2nd and 8 for the Chargers at the Commanders' 42 with 8:58 left in the second quarter, safety Quan Martin had a forced fumble via a hit on receiver Quentin Johnston on a 19-yard reception, and cornerback Marshawn Lattimore had the fumble recovery for just the Commanders' second takeaway in the 2025 regular season. And if there is such a thing as a momentum changer, a momentum shifter, this was it. The Commanders went on to score 27 unanswered points. Seemingly everything changed after that takeaway. The feel of the entire game changed after that takeaway. We, during head coach Dan Quinn's postgame press conference on Sunday evening, had this exchange between Commanders insider Nikki Davala of The Athletic and Quinn.
How much did Quan's first fumble and Martin's recovery, how much did that?
Yeah, I think it changed a lot, Nikki. Honestly, there was a nice tackle, honestly, by Jeremy Reeves even prior to that, and we just wanted to be demonstrate our physicality to go. But I thought that was kind of the shift. That was the thing that would change it. And you don't know when that's going to be, but it was certainly such a good play by Quan and Marshawn to get it.
All right, and then the Commanders' second takeaway of this game. 3rd and goal for the Chargers at the 4 with 7:44 left in the fourth quarter, and the Commanders holding a 20-10 lead. Interior defensive lineman Johnny Newton tipped a shotgun pass by quarterback Justin Herbert, and cornerback Mikey Sainristil made an interception while dropping to his knees at the Commanders' 1. He bobbled the ball, but made the pick for a huge takeaway. And the ensuing Commanders' offensive drive off each takeaway resulted in a touchdown. 2 big takeaways by the Commanders in this game. Interesting game for the Commanders as it related to Justin Herbert. So they allowed him to complete 22 of his 29 pass attempts, but also to throw for just 166 yards. He had a yards per pass attempt of just 5.72. He had 1 touchdown pass versus 1 interception, and the Commanders pressured him a bunch in totaling 5 sacks, 4 of Herbert, 1 of the Chargers' QB2 Trey Lance. Now, the Chargers' offensive line is a mess, no doubt. The Chargers' number 1 left tackle, Rashawn Slater, he this past August suffered a season-ending torn patellar tendon during a training camp practice. The Chargers' number 1 right tackle, Joe Alt, who moved to left tackle in place of the injured Rashawn Slater, was inactive for this game due to an ankle injury. The Chargers starting right tackle for this game, Trey Pipkins III, left the game in the first half due to injury, did come back into the game. And the Chargers starting right guard for this game, Mekhi Becton, he was in and out of the game in his return from a concussion. So yeah, the Chargers' offensive line is a mess. You have to take that into consideration. But still, good pass rush by the Commanders, and the Commanders stopped the run. They held Chargers running backs Omarion Hampton, Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal, and receiver Quentin Johnston to a combined 22 carries for just 84 yards. That works out to a yards per carry of just 3.82. The bad from the Commanders defense, well, the third down defense was bad. The Commanders allowed the Chargers to go 9 for 16 on third downs. I mentioned this being an interesting game for the defense in defending Justin Herbert. The Commanders actually got worked by Herbert as a runner. They allowed Herbert to have 4 carries for 60 yards. 3rd and 2 for the Chargers at their 32 with 13:36 left in the first quarter. The Commanders allowed Herbert to have a 41-yard shotgun scramble. Safety Jeremy Reaves had a terrible missed tackle on which he got shook. Yes, Herbert shook Reaves, and Herbert ran away from linebacker Bobby Wagner. Also, 1st and 10 for the Chargers at their 35 with 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Jeremy Reaves got fooled badly on an 18-yard shotgun read option run by Herbert. And the Commanders in the first half were guilty of some bad missed tackles. 3rd and 6 for the Chargers at their 24 with 7:06 left in the first quarter. The Commanders gave up a 29-yard reception by receiver Keenan Allen on a catch and run on which he had 25 yards after the catch, and a big reason for that was a bad missed tackle by Jeremy Reaves. 2nd and 6 for the Chargers at their 28 with 12:19 left in the second quarter. Linebacker Frankie Louvu had a bad missed tackle and appeared to get away with a face mask penalty, this on a 12-yard reception by Omarion Hampton. But even with all of that, this ended up being a good game for the Commanders' defense. So much better than what we saw in the loss at the Falcons. More now on the Commanders' 27-10 win at the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday to get to 3-2 in the NFL's 2025 regular season. Let's talk Commanders special teams. 2 huge turning point plays in the second quarter of this game to fuel the Commanders overcoming a 10-0 second quarter deficit. The first play was the forced fumble by safety Quan Martin for a fumble that was recovered by cornerback Marshawn Lattimore. The second play was punter Tress Way taking one for the team. Way over 2 punts averaged 50.5 yards per punt and 40.5 net yards per punt, but his most significant contribution in this game was him taking a key penalty on a 4th and 15 for the Commanders at their 2 with 50 seconds left in the second quarter. Way drew a 15-yard roughing the kicker penalty by linebacker Marlowe Wax, negating a 57-yard punt return for a touchdown by receiver and punt returner Ladd McConkey, and giving the Commanders a first down off a disastrous previous 3 plays. And the drive resulted in kicker Matt Gay's 29-yard field goal with 2 seconds left in the second quarter. Speaking of Matt Gay, he went 2 for 2 on field goals and 3 for 3 on extra points. He connected on a 36-yard field goal with 5:49 left in the third quarter, despite Chargers linebacker Del'Shawn Phillips being guilty of a defensive offside penalty that the Commanders declined. But remember when it felt like Matt Gay was kicking for his job? Well, he, over the team's last 2 games, is 6 for 6 on field goals. He in this regular season now is 9 for 12 on field goals and 13 for 13 on extra points. Maybe, just maybe, Matt Gay as a kicker for the Commanders is going to work out. More good work on kickoff returns by the Commanders. Receiver Luke McCaffrey, for a second consecutive game, was the Commanders' primary kickoff returner, with Deebo Samuel Sr. needed to serve as the team's number 1 receiver. McCaffrey, over 3 kickoff returns, averaged 30.67 yards per return. He had a 40-yard kickoff return in the first quarter. I tell you, the Commanders in this regular season, game in and game out, are producing at least 1 big kickoff return per game, right? Either by Deebo or McCaffrey. A receiver, Jalen Lane, he was the Commanders' primary punt returner, did not have any punt returns. And in this game, had some special teams penalties beyond the aforementioned roughing the kicker penalty. A brutal special teams penalty by cornerback Mikey Sainristil. On a 4th and 5 for the Chargers at the Commanders' 11 with 10:34 left in the first quarter, Sainristil committed a 5-yard defensive offside penalty, nullifying a 29-yard field goal by Chargers kicker Cameron Dicker and extending the Chargers drive, which resulted in a touchdown. Quarterback Justin Herbert's second and goal 2-yard under center play action boot touchdown pass to Ladd McConkey with 9:49 left in the first quarter. So little went well for the Commanders in that first quarter, but also when it came to cornerbacks committing special teams penalties, Chargers cornerback and former Washington cornerback Benjamin St-Juste. He committed 2 special teams penalties. St-Juste on the game-opening kickoff committed a 5-yard illegal formation penalty, leading to a redo of the game-opening kickoff, and on a 4th and 9 for the Chargers, while in a punt formation at their 44 with 1:45 left in the second quarter, St-Juste committed a 5-yard false start penalty. Washington took Benjamin St-Juste in the 3rd round of the 2021 NFL Draft out of the University of Minnesota. He had a promising 2022 regular season, but he, over the 2023 and 2024 regular seasons, became a penalty machine, right? Totaling 20 penalties, including 17 accepted penalties. 11 of the accepted penalties were defensive pass interference penalties. No DPIs for St-Juste on Sunday, but he did commit 2 special teams penalties. A thank you to the Juice. So the Chargers had 10 accepted penalties for 85 yards. The Commanders had 7 accepted penalties for 48 yards. So here was head coach Dan Quinn during the opening statement of his post-game press conference on Sunday evening.
All right, we can get rolling. Things that I saw from tonight, I was pleased to see the road energy throughout the game that didn't change. Didn't change when we were down 10-0 or ahead 20-10, and we thought that would be a big deal for us coming into it. My favorite part of the game was the last drive, to go 6 minutes and 30 seconds at the end. That's a big deal for us, to have 4 minutes, to be able to run the ball and go finish. I thought some of the momentum-changing plays was Quan on the forced fumble on the hit and Marshawn on the recovery, and then Seymour Steele on the red zone interception. So to finish +1, we had one offensively that we gave up, but to get the ball a few times, that was big. And I thought the complementary football in the second half was what we were looking for. It wasn't there at the very beginning. I thought we had some self-inflicted wounds. We had a penalty on a special teams on a return. We had just some ones that didn't quite nail it. So those were the things that I was pleased about into the game. So glad to get rolling with you guys.
Well, the Commanders now have some time until their next game, home to the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football on Monday night, October 13th at 8:15. The Bears just had their bye week. The Commanders, by the way, are 1 game out of first place in the NFC East. The Philadelphia Eagles lost at home to the Denver Broncos 21-17 on Sunday afternoon. So the Commanders now are 3-2, and the Eagles now are 4-1. And the Commanders have the better point differential, plus 33 to the Eagles plus 16. Hey, are you looking to upgrade the heart of your home? Whether it's time to repair your gas fireplace, modernize your hearth, or simply add more comfort and style, Nova Fireplace and Stove is Northern Virginia's go-to expert for heat, safety, and home transformation. Nova Fireplace and Stove is a family-owned, fully licensed, and insured company with over-the-top credentials, gas and electrical master's licenses, a Class A contractor's license, and a long list of 5-star reviews to back all of this up. Nova Fireplace and Stove has a beautiful showroom in Woodbridge, Virginia. That's where your dream fireplace begins. Come in and see Nova Fireplace and Stove's stunning displays, including custom fireplace glass doors and stone refacing options that can completely transform the look of your fireplace. From sleek and modern to rustic and cozy, Nova Fireplace and Stove has something for every style. And here's what else Nova Fireplace and Stove offers: gas fireplace service and repair, chimney cleaning and brickwork repair, generator installation, panel replacements, and water heater repairs, smoke detectors, security lights, and more. Every job includes a free in-home estimate, and for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast, Nova Fireplace and Stove is offering $25 off any service. Just mention this ad. Nova Fireplace and Stove only works in Northern Virginia and thus knows the homes, the codes, and the people. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. So stop by the showroom, see what's possible, and let Nova Fireplace and Stove help you bring warmth, safety, and style to your space. You can also visit NovaFireplaceandStove.com. Nova Fireplace and Stove, where comfort meets craftsmanship and your fireplace becomes the heart of your home. Time now to talk college football. 6 of the 7 FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region played in Week 6 of the 2025 season. No game for Liberty. The Flames' next game is at UTEP this Wednesday night, October 8th at 8. But we on Saturday had some wild results, including a gut-wrenching loss for Maryland. The Terrapins fell to 4-1 overall, including 1-1 in the Big Ten, with a 24-20 loss to Washington at CQ Stadium in College Park, Maryland on Saturday. The game was a sellout on what was family weekend for Maryland, and hopefully the family members covered their eyes with what happened. The Terps blew a 20-0 third quarter lead. This game was tracking toward being another impressive win for the Terps in Big Ten play this season, but instead they choked away a 20-0 third quarter lead. The Terps had not trailed all season until the fourth quarter of this game. Washington won its first road game in Big Ten play since joining the conference beginning with the 2024 season, but no stat off the result from this game stands out more than this. Mike Locksley, as Maryland head coach now, is 0-10 in games after a bye week. 0-10. That is awful. I like Locksley, but him as Maryland coach being 0-10 in games after a bye week is so not a good look. The Terps defense in this game was great until the third quarter. The Terps allowed Washington during a stretch over the third and fourth quarters to score 24 points over 4 drives that totaled 40 plays for 284 yards. It is remarkable how the Terps defense just fell apart. A big moment for the defense was one of the Terps' best players, true freshman edge defender Sidney Stewart, in the final minute of the second quarter, being ejected from the game due to being called for targeting on Washington quarterback Damon Williams Jr. on a late hit. But still, that does not excuse the Terps allowing Washington during a stretch over the third and fourth quarters to score 24 points over 4 drives that totaled 40 plays for 284 yards. That is a defensive collapse. Also, the Terps' offense was not good. The Terps generated just 274 total net yards of offense, averaged just 3.97 yards per play, and scored just 2 touchdowns. It did go 9 for 17 on third downs, but the Terps' rushing offense was bad and really has not been good for most of this season. Terps running backs DeJuan Williams, Nolan Ray, and Iverson Howard, they combined for 17 carries for just 43 yards. When you have a big lead, what do you like to do, right? Run the football, kill clock. Terps couldn't do that in this game because their rushing offense is not good. And Maryland true freshman quarterback Malik Washington, he did not have a good game. He completed just 30 of his 49 pass attempts. That works out to a completion percentage of just 61.22. He, over his 49 pass attempts, threw for just 219 yards. That works out to a yards per pass attempt of just 4.47. He had 1 touchdown pass versus 1 interception. He did take no sacks, but he was not much of a run threat. He had 2 carries for 6 yards and a touchdown. Bad loss for Maryland. Bad look for Mike Locksley. Again, he as Maryland coach now is 0-10 in games after a bye week. Here was Locksley during the opening statement of his postgame press conference on Saturday evening.
Give credit to Washington, Coach Fish, his staff. Great ball game. What we learned today as a team is, you got to learn how to put people away, especially good teams like Washington, and when we have them here at home. Speaking of home, I got to give our fans a tremendous amount of credit for creating one hell of an environment for our players and making it a great environment for us. We're a young, talented, inexperienced team, but there's zero doubt in my mind that we're talented. And much like I said before, everything that we've made corrections with, we've seen them go execute. Today was the first day we didn't do it. We knew that it would come down to our skill today, running, blocking, tackling, catching, and throwing. And Washington did it a little bit better than us, and especially in critical situations where they needed to make plays, they did. These are great lessons for us. I'm looking forward to getting this stuff fixed with our team. We'll learn from this, and I expect this team to respond the right way. I told them in the locker room, we're going to learn a couple things about ourselves. One, how to manage success, which I didn't think we did a great job of it, in the bye week of managing the success without the distractions and the things that pop up. And now we're going to have to see how we manage adversity, because this is the first bit of adversity we'll face together as a team with dealing with a loss. And I'm looking forward to seeing just how these guys respond. We got another great opportunity next Saturday here at the Shell against Nebraska, and I promise you our guys will show up, we'll be prepared, and we'll be working to get us back on the right track.
Yeah, next up for Maryland, home to Nebraska Saturday afternoon at 3:30. So Maryland on Saturday had a bad loss at home. Navy on Saturday had a big win at home. The Midshipmen improved to 5-0 overall with a 34-31 win over Air Force at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland on Saturday afternoon. The win gives Navy a 5-0 start in each of 2 consecutive seasons for the first time since the 1978 and 1979 seasons, and the win gives Navy the edge in the race for the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy for this season. The Commander-in-Chief's Trophy goes each season to the service academy that does the best in football games against the other 2 service academies. The 3 service academies being Navy, Army, and Air Force. Navy won the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy for last season. Navy's offense in this win over Air Force was outstanding. Now, Air Force's defense is awful. Okay, let's make that clear. Air Force for this season through week 5 was number 136 in the FBS, dead last in the FBS in defensive efficiency per ESPN. But still, Navy's offense was superb. The Mids put up 517 total net yards of offense, averaged 9.4 yards per play, and went 5 for 11 on third downs and 2 for 2 on fourth downs. 2 Navy players had historic games. Quarterback Blake Horvath and slot back Eli Heidenreich. Blake Horvath went 20 for 26 for 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He took no sacks. His 339 passing yards were the most by a Navy player in a game since quarterback Jim Kubiak threw for 361 yards in a 22-20 loss to Army at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia on December 3rd, 1994. Horvath had 17 carries for 130 yards and a touchdown and a lost fumble. His 469 total net yards of offense set a program record for most total net yards of offense by a Navy player in a game. And Eli Heidenreich, he had 8 receptions for 243 yards and 3 touchdowns on 8 targets. His 3 touchdown catches tied the school record for most in a game. His 243 receiving yards set a school record for most receiving yards in a game. All-time performances by Blake Horvath and Eli Heidenreich. During Navy head coach Brian Newberry's postgame press conference on Saturday afternoon, had these exchanges between Gene Wong of the Washington Post and Newberry and Navy football insider Bill Wagner of CapitalGazette.com and Newberry.
It's almost like you run out of superlatives to talk about Blake, but to be the all-time single-game leader in total offense in Navy history, that's ahead of some incredible players. Just what can you say about that guy?
Yeah, I mean, can't say enough good things. I mean, he's special, yeah, and he makes us go. And just, obviously phenomenal young man, but special player. I'm glad he's on our side, But no, I can't say enough good things about him. And he's just, he never flinches. He never panics. He never presses. He just goes and plays. He's calm, cool, and collected, and just a special talent. He's a winner. He's a winner. And that permeates onto the rest of our team.
And what about Eli? He set a school record for pass receiving yards. He's tied the school record for touchdown receptions in the game. He now holds the career record for touchdown receptions. But, I mean, everybody on the other side knows you're trying to get the ball to him, yet he still gets open and makes huge plays.
Yeah. Well, they kept getting one-on-one coverage, which, we took advantage of it. And, he's another special player. He's a guy that can line up at wide receiver or slot or running back or wildcat quarterback and just a phenomenal football player. And, when we target him, I think it was 8 targets for 8 catches, right? When we put the ball in his hands, good things tend to happen. So I wish I had known about the records and stuff in the locker room. Would have celebrated that and might try to find a game ball to give him. But that's good stuff, man. But those two, the combination of those two is pretty deadly.
No doubt. Now, Navy's defense in this win over Air Force was not good. Navy allowed Air Force to generate 460 total net yards of offense, average 7.08 yards per play, and go 7 for 13 on third downs and 1 for 1 on fourth downs. Navy got work by Air Force quarterback Liam Zarka. He went 11 for 19 for 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He took 2 sacks. He had 23 carries for 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a lost fumble when you take out the 2 sacks that he took. Navy for this season through week 6 is number 110 out of 136 teams in the FBS in defensive efficiency per ESPN. Also, Navy uncharacteristically had 8 accepted penalties, though for just 49 yards, the Air Force had 3 accepted penalties. Next up for Navy at Temple, Saturday afternoon at 4. A second consecutive overtime win for Virginia. The then number 24 Cavaliers improved to 5-1 overall, including 3-0 in the ACC with a 30-27 overtime win at Louisville on Saturday. This off UVA's 46-38 double overtime win over then number 8 Florida State at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia on September 26. This win at Louisville gives UVA its first 3-0 start in ACC play in a season since 2007. Virginia for this game was the number 24 team in the Associated Press Top 25 poll that came out on September 28th. And Virginia is the number 19 team in the Associated Press Top 25 poll that came out on Sunday afternoon. UVA won at Louisville despite blowing a 24-14 fourth quarter lead. The Cavs won the third quarter 10-0, but then lost the fourth quarter 10-0. Also, UVA won despite its offense struggling against a good Louisville defense. Louisville for this season through week 5 was number 17 in the FBS in defensive efficiency per ESPN, but the Wahoos had just 237 total net yards of offense, averaged just 3.76 yards per play, and went just 6 for 15 on third down. So whose quarterback and North Texas transfer Chandler Morris did not have a particularly good game. He went just 19 for 31 for just 149 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. He took 2 sacks, which totaled minus 20 yards in lost yardage. He had 5 carries for 27 yards when you take out the 2 sacks that he took. UVA's defense had a mixed game, but scored 2 touchdowns and generated 5 sacks. A cornerback and Army transfer Donovan Platt, he had a 61-yard return of a fumble for a touchdown with 6:12 left in the first quarter. And linebacker Cam Robinson, one of UVA's best players, he had a 47-yard pick six with 6:25 left in the third quarter. Here was UVA head coach Tony Elliott during his postgame press conference on Saturday evening.
I think that managing the success of last week, and we didn't play our best last week, and we found a way to win. And so I think that that's what they were leaning on. They leaned on that confidence coming out of that game to just believe all the way to the end, strain, fight to find a way. So super proud of our guys. And, hey, man, a win's a win. In this conference, you take them. I've been a part of some quote-unquote ugly wins. There's truly no ugly wins. We came up here with the objective to win, and the young men, super proud of them for their effort to just find a way.
Yeah, UVA these days very much is finding ways to win games. Next up for Virginia is a bye week. UVA's next game is its homecoming game, home to Washington State on Saturday evening, October 18th at 6:30. Speaking of a homecoming game, Virginia Tech is no longer unbeaten with Philip Montgomery as interim head coach. At 2-1 now is the record. Tech fell to 2-4 overall, including 1-1 in the ACC with a 30-23 loss to Wake Forest at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia on Saturday afternoon in the Hokies homecoming game. Another bad game for Hokies quarterback Kyron Drones. He completed just 14 of his 28 pass attempts. He over his 28 pass attempts threw for just 111 yards, so that works out to a yards per pass attempt of just 3.96. He had 1 touchdown pass versus 1 interception. He took 2 sacks, which totaled minus 19 yards in lost yardage. He had 11 carries for 55 yards when you take out the 2 sacks that he took. Kyron Drones for this season through week 6 is number 90 out of 138 qualified FBS quarterbacks in ESPN's total QBR, 48.0. The Hokies lost despite running backs Terrion Stewart and Marcellus Hawkins combining for 20 carries for 110 yards and a touchdown. The Bowling Green transfer Terrion Stewart, he had 9 carries for 62 yards and had 1 reception for 4 yards on 2 targets. Central Missouri transfer Marcellus Hawkins, he had 11 carries for 48 yards and a touchdown and had no receptions on 1 target. But the Hokies' two-back attack, Stewart and Hawkins, is doing well. The passing offense is what is really struggling. The Hokies' defense was good. Tech held Wake Forest to a yards per play of just 4.82 and to just 6 for 17 on third downs. Also, the Hokies lost despite Wake Forest having 11 accepted penalties for 85 yards. So the Hokies had 6 accepted penalties for 74 yards. Next up for Virginia Tech at Georgia Tech Saturday afternoon at 3:30. James Madison improved to 4-1 overall, including 2-0 in the Sun Belt Conference with a 14-7 win at Georgia State on Saturday. JMU for this game was a 20.5-point favorite per multiple outlets, and yet won by just 7. JMU lost the first half 7-0, but won the second half 14-0. JMU had 211 total net yards rushing to Georgia State's 37, but had just 74 total net yards passing to Georgia State's 212. JMU running backs Wayne Knight and Jordan Fuller, a Holy Cross transfer, combined for 31 carries for 179 yards and a touchdown, and Knight had 3 receptions for 10 yards. But JMU quarterback Alonzo Barnett III, he went just 11 for 22 for just 74 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. He took 1 sack, which was for a 7-yard loss. He had 3 carries for 8 yards and a touchdown. When you take out the sack that he took, he quarterbacked Duke's offense that went just 4 for 14 on third down. Second consecutive game for JMU in which its rushing offense was really good, but the passing offense was not good. But the Dukes did win. Next up for James Madison, home to Louisiana Saturday at noon. And Old Dominion improved to 4-1 overall, including 1-0 in the Sun Belt Conference, with a 47-7 win over Coastal Carolina at SB Ballard Stadium in Norfolk, Virginia on Saturday evening. The win gives ODU its best 5-game start to a season since 2012, when future Washington football team / Washington Commanders quarterback Taylor Heineke was ODU's QB1. Not since the days of Tay has ODU been this good. And how about this? ODU for this season through week 6 is number 18 out of 136 teams in the FBS in overall team efficiency per ESPN. Virginia is number 26. Maryland is number 29, but ODU is number 18. ODU in this blowout of Coastal Carolina had 619 total net yards of offense to Coastal Carolina's 189, an average 8.04 yards per play to Coastal Carolina's 2.82. ODU quarterback Colton Joseph had another big game. He completed just 17 of his 30 pass attempts, but he threw for 315 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He took 1 sack, but it was for a mere 1-yard loss. Joseph had 6 carries for 67 yards and a touchdown when you take out the sack that he took. Colton Joseph for this season through week 6 is number 16 out of 138 qualified FBS quarterbacks, and ESPN's total QBR 80.6. The UVA's Chandler Morris is number 17, 80.2. Here was ODU head coach Ricky Ronnie during his postgame press conference on Saturday night on Colton Joseph.
I think what he continues to do, and I think he's going to, there's some things where, he could have done a couple things better, but overall he's playing really, really well. And what he's doing excellent right now is he's just letting the game come to him. He's not trying to force things. The ball's going where the ball should go. And when he's doing that, we're really hard to defend. And I think that's, the thing that he's doing a really nice job of.
Yeah, also ODU running back and Georgia military transfer Traquan Jones. He had 14 carries for 98 yards. Next up for Old Dominion at Marshall, Saturday afternoon at 3:30. And that'll do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Tuesday show, episode 1171. We'll have plenty for you on the Commanders as we on Monday afternoon have the day after the game press conference of head coach Dan Quinn. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Hey, at the start of the week, we said one thing, man. That was our one goal we had to get. The dog-ass competing together, man. An absolute fun and joy of that. We lived that like a for the second half. That's it, man. That's Commander ball, competing, battling, finding ways, man. It was cool, man. So we got some tough in here, all right? That's how we get down every time. That's how we get down every time. So speed and violence still works, all right? Still works. And proud of you guys, man.